Mark Pope in Kentucky needed point guard depth in the worst way possible, and Mason Williams is the perfect, and I mean perfect, add for next season.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of the show, we are going to be discussing the commitment of four-star point guard Mason Williams to Kentucky. Bit of a quick turnaround here as he literally visited just 2 days ago to Lexington, and now son of Mo Williams, Mason Williams, is officially a Wildcat. What do we know about him? What do we know about his stats, which are eye-popping, by the way? And what will his role be on next year's team? Today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we're driven by the details. Highlights make the reel, but the work behind them makes it count. Stay tuned for this week's Moving the Game Forward, the all-new Mazda CX-5. More to move every side of you. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. I want to remind everybody out there that we're free and available on all platforms. If you're watching live on YouTube, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe here, wherever you're tuned in. If you're listening to this on podcast, YouTube, wherever you're watching the show, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. The offseason has officially begun as Mason Williams commits to the Wildcats' first domino to fall here for Mark Pope in Kentucky. And there has been a bit of pushback already on social media, and I would argue that, or hope to argue, that most of the pushback is from other fan bases, because I believe Mason Williams is the perfect add to next season's roster. Now, there is a couple of different parameters I want to put around that statement. First and foremost, I don't think Mason is going to be a starting point guard. I think that's pretty obvious this late in the game. To have a point guard come out of nowhere as a freshman, given his size and his ability, I don't think he's going to be a starting point guard next season. I think he is going to be a backup player who does get run, but I question how much run if Kentucky does want to stack depth at point guard, as Mark Pope has claimed he wants to do this offseason. So Mason, I think, is a very good player. We talked about him on yesterday's show, and we'll get into all the details again, but I want to say off the top here, for his role, for who he is, I am more than welcoming him to Lexington because I know what his development path is going to look like. And there has been some pushback on social media saying really ridiculous things. Either it's a 4-star, we don't take 4 stars here at Kentucky. He was being recruited by Jackson State because that's where his dad coaches, guys. Come on. He decommits when he realizes that there are a lot of Power 4 schools out there that actually want him. And then Kentucky comes calling. And I thought about this yesterday whenever I was watching some of his highlights, and then the fact that he took a visit. When Kentucky comes knocking, when they say, hey, we're interested in possibly adding you to next season's roster, you don't say no. You don't say no in this spot. So I don't get the 4-star talk. I don't get the pushback of this kid's not good enough, because we've seen a number of guys come through this program that weren't the highest rated players, and they've outproduced a variety of guys. And I would like to point to 2 players in particular in recent history that I think may change your mind if you're of the opinion that no-name players, quote unquote, if that's how you want to label them, don't perform well. Antonio Reeves is one of the greatest scorers this program has ever seen, full stop. And you remember where he came from. He came from Illinois freaking State. I don't want to hear anything about stars. I don't want to hear anything about the inability to play above the rim. Antonio Reeves shot the ever-loving life out of the ball, and he was a phenomenal scorer, and he developed into something even better during his final season here. I don't want to hear anything about it. The second player, and this is one that I think I saw the most pushback from. Do you remember when Dawe Thiero committed to Kentucky? Do you remember what time of year that was? It was May 8th. I believe. It was May 8th whenever Thiero actually committed to the program. 3-star at the time. 3-star guard. Skinny guard. And everyone said, what on earth is Cal doing? What is the thought process behind this decision? He's not a good player. And then he developed, he gained weight, and he became a bruiser and a super freak of nature athlete. He developed. He got bigger, he got stronger, he developed. Players like Mason Williams have the ability to take that type of path that Antonio did the path that Thiero did. And something that I would like to remind everyone is that Mark Pope at BYU was developing kids at an insane level. He was taking no-name guys and turning them into high-profile shooters, high-profile offensive players. His system worked. I am putting full trust, and I mean full trust, into Mark Pope making this work with Mason Williams because I see a really high ceiling with him as an offensive player. Let's go back to my notes from yesterday. Statistically speaking, this is one of the best shooters Kentucky's picked up in a while from their freshman class. Mason Williams plays for the EYBL Scholastic League. That may not mean much to you. I'll explain what it means in a second because it's really impressive. The EYBL Scholastic League. And during the 13 games this season, he has averaged 15.4 points, 4.7 rebounds, 4 assists while shooting 44% from the floor and 48% from three. 48% from three on 3.6 three-point attempts per game. And during his high school season, he played 8 games. He averages 15 points, 4.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists while shooting 60% from the floor and 41.2% from three. Go watch this kid play. He can stripe it. He is an incredible shooter. The body control is phenomenal. The patience, the awareness. This is a smart, under control, solid player. Now, he's not going to play above the rim. He's not going to wow you with his explosiveness or a dunk package or his play in transition, but he is buttery smooth. He is smart and he is patient. And that's the type of player Kentucky needs at point guard. They do not need, and this is not a shot at Jasper Johnson. This is literally what I think Kentucky was trying to avoid this offseason, a shot-chucking OTE type player, and I'm not talking about Jasper. I promise I'm not talking about Jasper, who comes in, who turns the ball over and jacks up shots. I'm not doing a bit. I'm not trying to bash on Jasper. I'm just saying that's not what Kentucky needed to add this season. They don't need the flair. They need somebody who provides stability at point guard because of the problems that they've had with their depth, of the problems that they've had with their health over these last 2 seasons. Nobody has been more snake bit than the Kentucky Wildcats. And I would take that back all the way to the 21-22 season. Kentucky can't get out of their way when it comes to injuries. Mason Williams helps provide a stable floor as a freshman coming off the bench. And again, I don't necessarily even know if he's going to be the second option that Kentucky has here at point guard. I think that they will probably add another guy to go with Lowe if he does decide to stay. So you have a great 1-2-3 punch at point guard with Williams coming off the bench and can play a little combo guard, I think. If he's actually 6'3", which some places have him listed at 6'2", some places have him listed at 6'3", let's call him 6'2.5" for the fun of it. If he actually is that size, if he's able to add a little bit of muscle, which he's already 185, then he can be that combo guard that comes off the bench for 7 to 8 minutes and gets you a bucket or just provides some stability. And if you get injured, I'm way more confident in somebody like Mason Williams running the show for a little bit than maybe somebody else. This is a great ad, really, really good ad if you are going to add pieces around it. I would want high-level athleticism on top of this. I said this on yesterday's show. I think you need to go get somebody like a Jason Crow Jr., like a TK, somebody of that mold in the transfer portal who provides you a little bit more size, a little bit more athleticism. You sacrifice some efficiency in the process, but it's a nice 1-2 punch to go along with Williams where you have this explosiveness that you can't necessarily control from a matchup standpoint, and then you have this efficiency where you can create open looks, and it really does stress a defense when you have both those guys on the floor or you rotate them in and out before they can get their subs in. I love this ad. He held offers again from places like Ole Miss, Jackson State, Memphis, Louisiana, New Mexico State, Stephen F. Austin, Washington, and Texas Tech. I want to remind you guys, the only reason he was committed to Jackson State is because his dad coaches there. Mo Williams coaches Jackson State. So it's okay. It is okay. And the final thing I want to talk about here is a tweet. Actually, I believe Matt Sack tweeted this out right before I went live. And I retweeted this because it really did excite me. He took down, alongside Tennessee Collegiate Academy, earlier this season, the #1 ranked high school prolific prep. He posted 23, 5, and 5 in a 65-64 upset victory. He shot 7 of 12 in that game, 3 of 3 from 3, by the way. He had six assists. Actually, he had 6 rebounds, 5 assists. So he didn't go 23, 5, and 5. He went 23, 6, and 5, a block and a steal. And he was playing against Caleb Holt, Bruce Branch, Nasir Anderson, all top 10 guys. We know who Caleb Holt is. We know who Bruce Branch III is. This is not a fluke. This is not just some other kid. This is a legitimate EYBL star who has played very well for his team and has shot the ball very well. And when you watch his tape, he plays so well under control. I think, again, for his spot on the team, this is a worthy ad. This is a worthy ad. So we're going to get to the live chat. We're going to get to the questions, the comments, possibly. I want to explain a little bit what EYBL means. What does Kentucky do around him? We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth. We'll do all of that here in just a moment. Before we do it, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Mazda. This is moving the game forward by Mazda. For those who know the score, never tells the story. I do want to highlight here Mason, because this is the first domino to fall. This is the first ad for Kentucky's 26-27 season. The story begins here, and Mason is in the opening chapter. And I want to give him credit for the way that he has risen the ranks, the way that he has gone from a player that is being solely committed, or solely recruited, I should say, by places like Jackson State, where his dad already coaches, to he's able to shine on these EYBL circuits. He's able to go out there and outperform players like Caleb Holt and Bruce Branch. He's super detailed. He seems super thoughtful in the way that he plays the game. And there's more to these players than just the highlights, right? It's the early mornings. It's the late night runs. It's the dedication to get yourself conditioned and capable of playing with the skill at this level to get to a place like Kentucky. It's constantly showing up for their squad, for their family, on and off the court. The all-new Mazda CX-5 moves the exact same way. It's got more space to connect. It's a bold new design, more intuitive technology, and Mazda has put all of those details, all of that intention into every single model that they make. You can stay connected on the road in every position you play in the all-new Mazda CX-5. There's more to move every side of you. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The tournament is still going on. It's one of the best times of the year. Brackets, buzzer beaters, upsets. It's nonstop action from the tip to the final cut down. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a way to stay in the action all tournament long. And here's the best part. You get up to $300 back in bonus bets every 10 day for 10 days. That means 10 chances to stay involved throughout the entire tournament. Mix it up however you want. Game picks, futures, or even same game parlays for even bigger potential payouts. It's perfect for the tournament because every day there's something new, different matchups, new storylines, and more ways to get involved as the bracket unfolds. So visit FanDuel.com to sign up today. That is FanDuel.com to get in on the action. Okay. Pause for water again because I am a thirsty boy. All right. I hope specific people aren't watching this right now. All right, continuing along here on today's episode of the show, Lance Dawe hanging out here with you. If you have not subscribed while watching this live, please go ahead and do so. It's going to be a pretty fun offseason. I mean, Kentucky's got a lot of stuff to do. They've got a lot of players to add. We still don't know what Tyron Stokes is going to do. Interesting reports coming out last night from Jack Pilgrim. If you didn't read those at KSR, there's a lot of stuff that's got to happen. So subscribe while you're here. Thank you for tuning in as well. So I talked a little bit about Mason Williams in the EYBL circuit, and I've not fully explained to you what exactly the Scholastic League means, and I explained this on yesterday's show. I will reiterate it here again to the 350 people in the live chat. Hi, Olivia. There are two different types of EYBL, right? Because when you hear EYBL, you think of just one thing, like AAU circuits, but it actually means two different things now. It's not the same. So you have the original EYBL, which is like AAU circuit. So you've got spring, summer ball. It's travel teams. It's not schools. It's travel squads. And it's like shoe team-based Nike grassroots type stuff. More big events like Peach Jam, which I really got to get down to at some point. It's more free-flowing. It's less structured. It's more like NBA type. It's a showcase type thing. And it's essentially asking, okay, let's see some of the talent. Let's see some of the athleticism. Get out and transition and run. It's a recruiting circuit. The Scholastic League is much more organized and much more structured. It's fall and winter, so actually whenever school is happening. Prep schools here, so it's real consistent teams, not travel teams, not teams that are just scrounged together. It is structured schedules, practices, coaches. It's a lot closer to what you see in college ball. So it's elite, and I mean elite high school level basketball with a college style play. More structured, more set, less free flowing, and that's the one that Mason is playing in. He's not playing in the get out and run and dunk man competition. He's playing in a more structured environment. And there's nothing wrong with AAU ball. There's nothing wrong with circuits and travel teams. I'm just saying, honestly, if I want to get a better evaluation of the type of player I'm going to get, I want to see him in a more structured environment where he has to play within a team, right? AAU ball is a talent showcase. Scholastic is an actual basketball environment. So in AAU, you are evaluating faster pace, less defense, more ISO. Stats can get really inflated. So when you see a player like Mason Williams playing in set out offenses where he's actually getting scouted more consistently, he's got a defined role, there's better team defense, and you see him shooting 48% from three at one point and 41% at another on consistently solid volume, it is actual value. It carries weight. It's not just empty stats. It's not just some AAU buckets that you're getting up and down the court. It is real structure against real competition. And when you look at some of the other school teams that he's playing against, it's not a fluke. I do want to point out that his team did go 2-11, but it is funny that one of the wins was against Prolific Prep. It is very funny that one of the wins was against objectively the best high school in America right now. It really does tell you who's talented here alongside who can actually play at the next level. So that's the explanation between Scholastic and just normal EYBL. Kentucky's got a kid that plays well within structure and shoots the ball well within structure. So when you look at this kid's stats and you see, oh, I don't know if that'll translate. And who knows? The kid's probably not going to be shooting 45, 46, 47% from deep. And if he is, Kentucky's got a great backup point guard on their hands because he is actually able to facilitate. But I think parts of his game do translate. I think there is a level of efficiency that comes with his shot selection too. I mean, some of these aren't open looks. I mean, they are contested jumpers off of pick and roll, I wouldn't say pick and roll. I would just say off of high ball screens. He gets to the corner really easily to knock down, just like it's easy shot selection from him. And it's control, it's patience. I'm surprised, honestly. My big question was whenever I started watching this kid, why is he rated so low? And whenever I watch most kids, like whenever I go to actually like watch an hour or two of tape, my big question is like, I'm trying to find the negatives. I'm trying to find like, okay, I'm watching one of the top 25 players in America, or according to most scouts, I'm trying to find the things that like knock him down in my mind. With this kid, I don't see a problem in the form. I don't see a problem in the ball handling. I don't see a problem in the decision making. I think that the big thing for me would probably, if I had to knock him for one thing, is size, which is something he can't do a ton about. My assumption is that at 6'2", 6'3", 185, maybe there's a little bit of struggle to translate to the physical nature of the SEC. Shout out Doug Shows. Everybody loves Doug Shows. We're all here to watch him officiate. And yes, I will get that in anytime I feel like this offseason. And Doug Shows, if you're watching, I don't like you. But I think that for UK, you can get him condition, you can get him stronger. That has been a point of a point of contention among the fan base, the strength and conditioning. But you could still do it with Mason. It could still happen here. So I'm okay with this. I am more than okay with this. Holy cow! There's a lot of you in the live chat. Whew. And I talked about this yesterday, and I guess I'll bring it back up here again. Kentucky's got money. Like that's not a problem. I have no idea how much they're paying Mason. I'm sure that'll come out. But Kentucky's got money. So if they really want to, and I think they do, I would want them to, I hope, they end up going out and getting at least 2 more guards that can actually handle the ball and can actually play, that aren't going to get out there and flounder and fail. It was not on Jasper Johnson this season. He should never have been in that position. Should have never been in that position. But unfortunately, with the injuries that Kentucky has had, they're going to have to take some extra precautions this offseason and use a freaking scholarship on a player that can play point guard. And again, that's not a shot at Jasper. That is just what they desperately need. They desperately need ball handlers who can stay strong and stay healthy. Mason, second, third option. I'll take it. I like it. 2 more, including Low. Yes, I agree, Austin. I think that I think that this is the way it would go. And I think I said this on yesterday's show. I'll reiterate it here. I want explosive, high-level athlete that can score in bunches, maybe sacrifice some efficiency at 1. Like at the top, starting at guard, your 6'4", do the Dougie, John Wall. Like that's the type player that I want. Obviously, you're not going to get a John Wall, but you get what I'm saying. I want a 6'4", 6'5", ball-handling, strong, athletic point guard number 1. I want Jalen Lowe coming off the bench. And I want those two basically splitting minutes. And the third guy, I want to be Mason to rotate in whenever kids need a breather or there's foul trouble. And then I want Mason to also tween between the 1 and the 2, because I guess you could technically classify Mason as a combo guard because of the way that he's able to score the ball. So that's how I would do it. I need a lot of depth at point guard. And if you are able to pair the facilitation that, if that's even a word, that Lowe brings, the scoring that Mason brings, with a blend of those two as the most talented player in your backcourt starting, that's a really, really, really nice rotation I think you have there. Now, we'll see what Keegan Brown does. We'll see what he says. We'll see what Pope says as far as the rotation goes and how they want to approach this. But Kentucky, like Drew East just said, they've got the cash. I mean, they are swimming in money. And chat, it's not a money laundering scheme. They promise. I still cannot believe that came out. Goodness gracious alive. All right, we'll actually get to the live chat here in just a little bit. We'll break this down. We'll get to your questions, your thoughts. Quickly, we'll tell you guys about our friends over at Supply House. You wouldn't show up on game day without a plan, right? You wouldn't show up to a job without the right parts. That's why putting Supply House in your starting lineup is always the right call. And here are the stats. 300,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products, 500 tried and true brands, and 90% of the country is in the 1 to 2 day delivery zone. Need a last-minute coupling, a compressor, a press tool, they've got it, and they'll get it to you quickly. They are clutch. If you are a pro in the trades, you can join the MVP rewards programs to become a trade master. Pros get exclusive member-only pricing, priority shipping, industry-leading customer service, and it's all absolutely free. So visit supplyhouse.com/TM to learn more about becoming a trade master. Use promo code SH5College for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com, promo code SH5College. Supply House, real people, real service. Today's episode is also brought to you by Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets change the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps and trading involve significant risk. It is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Whoa. All right. What's up, Captain Crash? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Subscribe if you have not already. There are 460 people in the live chat, and I am shocked. All right, so we'll get to the live chat here, get to some questions. Luke Newman says, I'd like to get Flory Badunga if he enters the portal, former Auburn commit, Kansas center. I would like him. I think that he would be a good add. Is he the top-tier overall center that Kentucky wants? I don't know. They kind of sounds like they want Malachi to be that. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Let's see. I think Jasper transitioned more into a 2 and became a better catch-and-shoot scorer. It would help with that PG depth lineup you discussed. Abso-freaking-lutely, Austin. And that's something that we all talked about, actually, this offseason. It was like, man, it's going to be really nice for Jasper, because I started off saying, I don't think he's a point guard. I started off saying, if I'm not mistaken, I need to go back and look. But I started off saying, I think this is a catch-and-shoot guy. I think this is someone that you put on the wing, and you have him run around to try and get an open shot, and you make him stationary. That's what his value is year one. And then whenever Kentucky's point guard depth got into question, I'm like, okay, Jasper's got to go out there and perform. I actually was a Jasper defender for a month or so there, looking at his assist rate and his decision making and his playmaking. I'm like, he's consistently not making bad decisions. SEC play hit, he couldn't handle it at all. He fell apart, and everybody started criticizing him. It's not about who he is as an individual. He's happy to be here. I'm glad he's happy to be here. For the sake of his mental, I hope he's able to stay and succeed. But we'll see what happens. I don't necessarily know if he fits on the roster. We'll have to see. But I would like to see him succeed. I want the young man to win. But when you're making $1 million, I mean, you're going to be criticized for your play and unjustly put in the situation that he was in. It's still the reality. He didn't perform well. So if he stays and you are able to make him more of a stationary player, like Austin mentioned, put some point guard depth around him, guys who can get him the ball instead of having to get his own shot, yeah, he's going to look a lot better. I also think that, in my opinion, if you put more shooters around him, which Kentucky just didn't have this season, then Jasper does look a lot, and I mean a lot better as just a stationary spot-up scorer who can maybe get to the rim a little bit because of his length there as well. Okay. Marino needs to be throwing weights around all offseason. I agree. I think that's something that Pope actually talked about in the report that came out recently. Sorry, I'm spilling things behind a paywall, but I mean, everybody's talking about it on Twitter. I mean, it would be kind of foolish for me not to discuss some of it. Apparently, Pope really wants Marino to come back, but he wants him to get into the best shape of his life. I would agree. I would like that. I would like for him to be able to jump a little higher, be able to catch a little bit more consistently, be a little bit more stronger around the paint, because I think that the upside with Marino is so huge, as I've continued to say for over a year now. Really, really high floor. But as you continue to build, I think he can develop into one of the best centers in the country, definitely in the SEC. What if Jasper and Garrison are starters next season? We will shut down the show. Unfortunately, that'll be it. We will say goodbye on Locked On Kentucky, and I will say we'll catch you at the end of the year if it goes well. But yeah, sounds like Cam is staying. I'm not mad at it. The role needs to be defined. You have to have clear conversations about these guys being role players. You also have to have, again, as I've continued to mention, Mason's a great ad. Mason, I want to be clear. He's a great ad for who he is for his spot on the roster. What have we continued to say? We're a week or so out from Kentucky getting thrashed in the NCAA tournament against Iowa State. And I've said since then, and I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it a million times until Kentucky actually freaking gets one. They need scorers. They need players who can put the ball in the hole in a variety of ways. That could be Stokes. That could be a high-profile transfer wing. That could be a high-profile point guard from the portal. We don't know right now, but Kentucky needs a bucket getter. And frankly, they need somebody like Stokes, and they need somebody through the transfer portal that can fill it up at point. They need those two players really bad. You need a 1-2 punch and then a really good center, and you rock and roll with some players around that. I think that's how they build it. I actually think that's kind of how they're talking about building it. But they need somebody who is not the unstoppable scorer, but the efficient lead guy, right? Stokes isn't a PG. I know. I'm saying, like, I want Stokes and a point guard. You get what I'm saying? Also, maybe you could play a little point forward. I don't know. But that's not what I meant. They need guys who can shoot off the dribble. Preach. Something that you've noticed, if you've been watching the show for 2.5, 3 years, is that every freaking player that Kentucky has brought in is an inefficient player off the dribble. Rest their soul, that YouTube channel that used to put up all the Synergy stats that got destroyed probably by Synergy, that used to showcase where players shot well, how they performed, their rebounding, their assists and stuff. And always when it got to the weaknesses portion of those video breakdowns, it would be off the dribble shooting for the players that Kentucky was bringing in. They were like so low in percentile scoring when it came to shooting off the dribble, and it always made me want to puke because I'm like, man, I hope this offense is good because these kids are not getting their own shot. And yeah, you need some players who can create a little bit off the dribble. Honestly, if you can get Stokes and then you can get a point guard who is really good at finding his own shot while also being a threat to distribute to everybody else, I think Skaggs is right. That is what you need. which is kind of tying into what I'm saying about like the high level athleticism. That's what you need. Yes, Mason is great. He's not an above the rim player. He's a really efficient shooter. I think he's a capable passer, really good ball handler. Maybe the size is a bit of an issue, but I want high athleticism, high flying. Whoa, mama, there goes that man type stuff at point guard, like as a starter. Dink Pate, I think Dink Pate would be a fun add to this backcourt. Not necessarily what I would be the most excited about, because you need a point guard, and Dink Pate is absolutely not that. Mason is a better ball handler than Dink, I think. I don't think I would want Pate as PG1. I've never seen a team with so many players set in concrete during the game. You need guys who can fly up and down the floor. Man, that would be nice if Kentucky had guys who were legitimate high-level athletes. That'd be really cool. We need the same thing at center, I agree. Who is someone like Brea, a good three-point shooter in the transfer portal we can get? That'll be something we talk about tomorrow. There's a number of names out there. We'll see. You know what's interesting to me is the kid from Virginia Tech who is like a 6'8", 6'9" point guard. And you may say, oh, that's not a point guard. Actually, go watch. He actually played point for Virginia Tech. I thought he was going to be a lottery pick. I thought he was going to be a first-round draft pick. He's entering the portal out of Virginia Tech. That kid deserves to play somewhere where he can win. And all due respect to the Hokies, who had some games go awfully, that like they got hoed in some games this season, but still, he deserves to go to a place that actually wins. That would be a really interesting get at point guard, because I don't necessarily know if he's like the craziest high-flying athlete, but goodness gracious, that kid can ball. I actually want to pull his name up. I don't even know if I can pronounce it right now. Nope, not even going to try. But not the most efficient shooter, but a 26.5% assist rate at 6'9", 215. I mean, goodness gracious. Yeah, it's less about the stats and more about he got that dog in him. Now, that's not normally a take you see on this show. Normally, you don't see me go, oh, that kid's inefficient, but I like his style of play. Iowa's got a great three shooter. Man, it'd be nice if nobody's leaving Ben McCollum, man. If they do, they what are you doing? Nobody should leave Ben McCollum in that Iowa program. That is a good coach, a very good coach, and a good roster. Man, think about we were so close, guys, to living in a world where Fulgaris was here, and we ended up getting other players, but we're not going to talk about that. Size matters. Check the Sweet 16. Skaggs is cooking right now. Stephon Vox from Providence. I've not looked enough at Stephon. I know he's that freshman that played really well for them. I know he shot well, but I haven't actually watched him. There's a guard for okay. Everybody in the chat thinks we should go get Vox. Do you think Stokes goes to UK? Right now, I have no idea. I have absolutely no freaking clue. And that's the problem, is that if you were able to get an answer to that, I think you would be able to put your roster together a little bit more quickly, but also at the same time the Sweet 16 still going on. Until the tournament ends, I'm going to hold off on Kentucky's roster construction completely. Reports last night, basically, I go read it if you haven't, because it's behind a paywall, but I'll give you the gist. Nobody knows, and the kid doesn't know, and we don't know, and we'll just have to see. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes at play right now. Again, I'm not going to blurt it all out here on the show, but I will tell you, it's a mess, and I don't know. I don't think he knows. You already know where Stokes is. That's right, guys. He's actually going to Little Rock. He's going to Arkansas Pine Bluff. Don't trip. Don't trip, guys. We will see you at New Jersey International Tech. We'll see you at Siena, even though Jerry McNamara is gone. We'll see you at an MAAC school. I don't know. I'm just pulling. We'll see you at Stonewood. We'll see freaking Tyron Stokes committing to Gardner Webb, or possibly may have you a Niagara, or Stonehill, Bucknell. You could go for a Loyola, Maryland. All right, I'll stop. Stokes to I don't even know how to pronounce. Is it Quinnipiac? I don't know, or I've never thought about how to actually pronounce that. I've only just said it in my head. So if I butchered that just now, I apologize. Not ever thought about speaking that out loud before. Mason Williams and Braden Hawthorne will be our best players in 2 years. I really don't know if that's true, or I don't. And if it is, and if that's a good thought. Quinnipiac. Okay, cool. Thank you. Quinnipiac. Okay, interesting. We'll have to see when Bill self-retires. I agree. That's part of it. Nobody knows. It's like we don't know. If he does retire, I would feel a lot better about it. I'd feel a lot better about it. Would you rather get Stokes or the number one player in the portal? That is such a good question. I am going to start a poll here. I'm going to start a poll. Stokes or best portal player. Okay. We're doing this live, so sorry to everybody in the if you're watching this on podcast, if you're watching this on Spotify, sorry. Anyway, there's your poll. Everybody vote on that. Self getting an Adidas hairpiece, not even a debate. Number one portal. Would you like to get the number one center in Texas? Who is the number one center in Texas? Freshmen don't win the NCAA tournament. No, but a blend does, Goated. A blend of veteran experience, athleticism, young pieces. I think that wins. Self had a schedule around his health issues. True. Okay. Seems like most of you agree. Portal over Stokes. I hope Stokes doesn't watch this. I won't answer that question. I will leave it. 56-44? Okay. Arizona is winning it all with three freshmen. If they do, but they've got a senior guard in Bradley, who is awesome. Depends on who the best player is. Stokes has some behavior issues. I guess that's fair. It's the lame answer. It's not the fun one, but it is the honest answer. It's got to have some context. I got to know who the number one player in the portal is. And that's not right now, to be clear. That is when all is said and done. So whenever the tournament is over and we're a week into April and things have happened, why not both? It'd be nice. It'd be nice, AFO. It'd be nice. Kansas and Florida didn't have a freshman player when they won a national championship. Did Florida not? I swear that they did. No, I guess they didn't. I forgot that Howe and Condon were sophomores. Yeah. But you can also point to literally a year before that and go, okay, well, UConn still had Stephon Castle, who was incredible. And then the year before that, Caravan as a freshman who was super talented. I mean, like, again, it's a blend. I think it's a blend. I think you got to have at least one. Okay, the poll evened up like crazy. That's interesting. Generational freshman classes last year. That's definitely this year. This year's going to be bad, I think. And if I'm wrong on that, cool. But I think that outside of Stokes and outside of Williams, now that we got him at the spot that we do, because I'm biased, of course, I don't necessarily know if I have a ton of faith in this freshman class. How long have we been going? 39 minutes? Okay, it might be time to end the show. I would just sit here and shoot the bull, but unfortunately, this has to. Do you know anything about getting an assistant coach? Not right now. We'll get back to that over the weekend. Where my goal over the next 24 hours is to do a little bit of research and get you guys some concrete answers on some portal kids. And 50-50 now on the poll, by the way. Some concrete answers on some portal kids and what Kentucky's going to do with the staff. Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for today's episode of the show. Subscribe if you have not already. Thank you so much in the live chat. If you have been watching this one live, you're listening on podcast, rate the show 5 stars, please. Thank you. I won't get on my knees and beg, but I'll get close. Follow the show on Twitter at LockedOnUK. Follow me on Twitter at LanceDaw_, and follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast, if you so please. And any questions, comments, concerns, leave those in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on the socials. I will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Kentucky. Hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. Go Cats, and God bless.